Tonight, fire destroys an Eastern Ontario landmark.
I lost my dad in October, and we just lost another member of our family.
A community watches as memories go up in flames. The former Douglas Tavern is in ruins. With Venezuela in turmoil, Ottawa's Cuban community wonders what's next for their home country.
Cuba is an important destination for Canadians. Why don't we take care of my country?
And parrots in peril.
We're still dealing with birds that were bred in the 70s and 80s. They're still in the system.
The colorful and vocal family pets don't have the same support system as cats and dogs. And as they get older, parrots need a voice. Good evening. Patricia is away tonight. We're beginning in Douglas, Ontario, where the community is mourning the loss of one of this region's historic buildings, now destroyed by fire. The Douglas Trading Post, formerly the iconic Douglas Tavern, went up in flames last night, and now nothing is left but a pile of rubble. Firefighters were called to the building around 8 p.m. last night. It's located on Queen Street in Douglas, about 120 kilometers west of downtown Ottawa. CTV's Dylan Dyson was in Douglas today and joins us live in studio with the latest. Dylan.
Stefan, the timber that built the Douglas Trading Post is more than a century old, the building dating back to the 1880s. And as the sun rose this morning and the hot spots were still being put out, all that was left of the former Douglas Tavern was a pile of charred memories. More than 100 years of history and memories gone up in flames after the building once known as the Douglas Tavern burned to the ground.
Devastated.
Devastated is a very good word.
Lost.
Most recently, the building had become the Douglas Trading Post and Diner. Owners Amanda Todd and Dan Peters now left with nothing but the clothes on their backs.
Like a rolling stone now. We have no home, we have no life, we have no business. Yeah. It's kind of all free. It's not good to put all your eggs in one basket, I guess, but that's what we did.
The call came in at 8 p.m. Monday night as flames shot through the roof, firefighters battling the flames until 3 a.m.
There's a fake ceiling upon a fake ceiling in there, and it was somewhere in between those ceilings that the fire had got good start to it, and once it started to grow, we had an awful time trying to catch it.
I looked out my window and I just seen flames coming out of that window. It scared me, and it was a total shock.
There was a line from Smoke on the Water that resonated with me. They burned down the gambling house and it died with an awful roar.
There were no injuries, but this community is in mourning.
It was like watching somebody that you love die. It was a part of us.
The Douglas Tavern and Hotel was once the hub of the community, known for its iconic St. Patrick's Day celebrations. Owned and operated for decades by the McHale family, Douglas's fire chief watching his childhood home and family business go up in smoke.
I lost my dad in October, and we just lost another member of our family. I don't know how else to say it. It's hard to put it into words. It's not mine anymore, but in part of me it always will be. And to have to make that phone call to Mum and tell her that it's gone, she hasn't been here yet, and I hope she doesn't come today, but it's a tough one.
The smashed glass facade and wall of fame may never return, but there is a drive to rebuild.
100% I do. Yeah, we're never going to be able to rebuild what it was.
You can't.
Now, the cause of the fire is unknown. The Douglas Fire Department says the Ontario Fire Marshal will not be doing an assessment given the extensive damage and loss. The estimated cost of damage was assessed between $5 and $7 million. The owners say they are insured, but don't expect the payout to be enough to cover the cost of rebuilding. Stefan.
Such a shame. So many memories. CTV's Dylan Dyson reporting live for us. Thank you, Dylan. We have extended coverage of the fire at the former Douglas Tavern. Just head to our website, ctvnewsottawa.ca. Turning now to the latest on Venezuela. President Donald Trump praised the raid when speaking to House Republicans today, but provided very few details about the plan to run the country.
It was so complex. 152 airplanes, many. Talk about boots on the ground. We had a lot of boots on the ground. But it was amazing. And think of it, nobody was killed. And on the other side, a lot of people were killed. Unfortunately, I say that, soldiers. Cubans, mostly Cubans, but many killed. And they knew we were coming.
Nicolas Maduro is now sitting in a U.S. prison facing charges for drug trafficking after he was captured by U.S. forces over the weekend. In the meantime, in Venezuela's capital, tensions are high. Armed paramilitary groups are now roaming the streets in Caracas. Venezuela's opposition leader is vowing to return to the country, but it's still unclear if there could be elections. One country closely watching all of these developments is Cuba. The island nation relies heavily on Venezuelan oil, and recent comments from Trump have sparked questions about its future. CTV's Austin Lee joins us live now with more on how members of the Cuban community here in Ottawa are reacting to the latest news. Austin.
Well, Savannah, I spoke with 3 Cuban Canadians today who tell me they were happy to see the arrest of Nicolas Maduro, and they now hope to see a regime change in their own home country.
Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they can hold out.
There is uncertainty in Cuba after the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, and it's something Cubans in Canada are watching closely.
The community who really wants freedom for Latin America are very happy that that guy, that terrorist, that criminal, that narco-terrorist have been captured by the United States of America.
The situation has some Cubans living in Ottawa hopeful for a change of government in their home country.
That regime needs to go. Like Cuba, 90% of the population lives on extreme poverty. Right now, if you get a meal per day, you are a very lucky person.
Cuba depends on Venezuelan oil, but even with the support of Maduro's government, energy insecurity is a major issue for the island nation. And now there are fears things could get worse.
So if that oil supply was cut off further, then Cuba would be in a disastrous situation.
As Cuban officials wait to see how Venezuela, their most crucial economic and military ally, will be run, the prospect of U.S. intervention is sparking some concern.
If Trump decided to just tighten the embargo and force a change by the Cuban government, then it could be dire. And there's always a strong possibility of civil conflagration.
In the meantime, this group of Cuban expats says they will continue to push for a democratic shift in their home country while sharing a message with Canadians.
Cuba is an important destination for Canadians. Why don't we take care of my country, your place where you call paradise, but right now it's a hell.
Now, if the United States does decide to slow or even stop the flow of oil to Cuba, one economist I spoke to suggests Mexico or maybe Russia could step up to eventually meet demand. Stefan.
CTV's Austin Lee reporting live for us tonight. Thank you, Austin. With Donald Trump making it clear the U.S. wants Venezuela's oil, there are concerns about how that could impact Canada's energy industry. But Prime Minister Mark Carney says he is confident Canadian oil will remain competitive. CTV's Rachel Aiello has more.
The Prime Minister is facing new pressure to ensure Canadian oil remains competitive in light of U.S. President Donald Trump pledging to rebuild Venezuela's energy sector.
We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago.
Asked today what impacts this could have on exports, Mark Carney said while a functioning Venezuela could eventually produce more oil, his government is working to expand Canadian capacity and access to new overseas markets.
We welcome the prospect of greater prosperity in Venezuela, but we also see the competitiveness of Canadian oil, and we're investing, or we're putting in place measures so that that's going to happen.
Carney's remarks came after Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre called for him to rapidly approve a new West Coast pipeline. In a letter to the PM, Poilievre said every barrel the United States sources from Venezuela could mean one less barrel these refineries would buy from Canada. Though experts say it will take several years and major investments before Venezuela could outpace the 4.5 billion barrels of crude that Canada produces per day.
It'll take billions and billions of dollars to correct the mismanagement of the Venezuelan crude oil system.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says the events in Venezuela emphasize the need to reach new buyers with new pipelines, while BC Premier David Eby said today he disagrees.
Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Stay with CTV News for continuing coverage of the situation in Venezuela and Cuba and the impact this could all have on Canada. For updates on radio, tune into News Talk 580 CFRA and watch CTV News channel at any hour. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. Taking DIY to a whole new Canadian level for the ODR. A homemade Zamboni getting lots of attention while being celebrated after being an annual tradition for the last decade. And here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It is -10 out there right now. And for a first check on weather, Jackie Perez is here, joining us live in studio. I know there's a warm-up on the way, Jackie, but maybe not good news for those skating enthusiasts. They look so good on the canal.
It looks great on the canal. We've enjoyed these freezing-like conditions, but temperatures are going to be warming up. And with this warm-up comes the brace for snow as well. We're anticipating up to 5 centimeters of snow moving through. There is a heavy weather system that is moving throughout most of the province. It's prompted a freezing rain warning in effect for really most of the GTA, and including it's extended to here at Kingston, Brockville, and even parts of Belleville. So freezing rain warning, 1 to 5 millimeters of ice buildup for tomorrow morning. Don't be surprised. So keep an eye out on the roads. It could be slick, could be slippery. Keeping a close eye here, though, in Ottawa, there is a chance that we could see between 3 to 5 centimeters of snow moving through into the overnight hours. But by the time we get to tomorrow morning, it is expected to clear out, where we will see mainly cloudy conditions for most of our Wednesday. Taking a look at the temperatures, about -5. So yeah, it's going to be getting warmer as we get into our Wednesday. -5 when we kick things off tomorrow morning, getting to a daytime high about -2. There may be a little bit of sunshine peeking through, but for the most part, our Wednesday is going to be mainly cloudy. Temperatures across the region right now, -10 here in Ottawa, about -8 in Brockville, -4 in Kingston, and about -10 in Mont-Tremblant. We'll have a closer look at your long-term forecast and when we can anticipate these milder temperatures. Stefan.
Thank you, Jackie. Today marks a significant milestone for OC Transpo. Exactly 1 year ago today, LRT lines 2 and 4 were launched, expanding train service to the airport in Riverside South. And although it was more than 2 years behind schedule, the numbers show that passengers are taking light rail. CTV's Leah LaRocque joins us now with more on this. Leah.
Well, Stefan, this wasn't just a test for Line 2 and 4. This was a test for OC Transpo in general to see if they could launch a successful light rail line. OC Transpo admits there were some hiccups, like working through freeze-thaw cycles, but daily and on big tests like Canada Day or Blues Fest, the train was reliable.
What a difference a year makes for students at Carleton.
I live about 30 minutes away without traffic, so having the train has made the commute so much easier.
It's been exactly 1 year since Lines 2 and 4 launched, bringing light rail back through campus.
The buses are a lot less reliable. The train is really nice. It took forever to finish, though.
Opening 2 years behind schedule, Line 2 has 11 stations from Bayview to Riverside South. Line 4 is the spur to the airport.
It's great. I like it.
Meaning getting home from Winnipeg for Ali Katif now includes the train.
It's fast, more reliable, and I like it.
Not without its issues, OC Transpo still calls the first year a success.
We made all the right decisions, and for the first year of operation, we're right around that 98% service reliability, something our customers really deserve and something they expect.
In the first year, there were 4.7 million rides, averaging about 24,000 a day. OC Transpo says that the success of the first year of Line 2 and 4 is largely because of lessons learned during the launch of the Confederation line. They say they were better prepared and never promised a date to launch the service.
A lot more engaged with the maintainer, with the constructor, and had a lot of those frank discussions to make sure that everything was lined up and everything was ready to go.
OC Transpo says improvements can still be made.
Well, I know in our long-term plan for the city is to go to double tracking along the whole length of the route. Now, that's probably still 10 or 15 years away, but what that would allow would be to run the train more often.
But for passengers, especially on campus, this is an anniversary worth a passing grade.
I really enjoyed it. It's really good transportation, in my opinion. Take the train to go downtown or anywhere else I want to, and I find it's super convenient now.
So what does this mean for the east extension for Line 1, which is the next to open? OC Transpo says there is a focus on testing and not making promises they can't keep. OC Transpo boss Troy Charter says they are still on track to open early this year, but Stefan isn't providing an exact date just yet.
Just yet. All right, thank you for this update, Leah.
No problem.
In other news, Cornwall police say a shooting over the weekend that left 2 people dead and 1 with serious injuries was a murder-suicide and an act of intimate partner violence. Officers were called to a home on Leach Drive shortly after 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Police say the 81-year-old man who lived in the home shot his 80-year-old ex-partner and her 83-year-old male friend. He then shot himself. Both men are dead. The woman is still in the hospital, and this investigation is ongoing. An Ottawa snowplow driver is facing charges after a crash with a small SUV in Ottawa's West End last night. It happened on Fernbank Road at Blackside Road around 7 o'clock. Ottawa police say the driver of the snowplow was already under a lifetime driving ban and also had an outstanding warrant with the OPP. Work is underway to clear the ice from the St. Lawrence Seaway, which has trapped some ships and delayed the seasonal closure. A stretch of the critical shipping route is already covered in ice, particularly around the locks. This is one of 23 ships currently stuck in the Seaway due to ice buildup. Earlier this afternoon, it made its way through the lock at Iroquois as it heads to Montreal. The Seaway was scheduled to close for the season on January 5th, but the cold December weather led to a large amount of ice buildup. Spectators from as far away as Brockville showed up to see the ship go through the lock today.
You don't see this very often in the wintertime. I think most of the time they're cleared through, but this time we realized they were stuck and they would have to be moving at some point. So we just took a chance, and there was no snow this afternoon, so we thought we'd drive down and see.
Keeping the Seaway open into January is rare. It has only been done 9 times since 1959. Turning now to a tragic story out of Nova Scotia. A grade 8 student has died after a vicious dog attack over the weekend. It happened on Saturday in Shelburne County, about 2 hours southwest of Halifax. Police say the 13-year-old boy was attacked by 3 large dogs while he was riding his bike past a property in a rural area. He died of his injuries in hospital. The dogs have been euthanized. World leaders, including Prime Minister Mark Carney, are in Paris to discuss Ukraine's security priorities, but the events in Venezuela are also taking center stage. And as Trump threatens other countries, Carney is pledging his support for Greenland.
The future of Greenland and Denmark are decided solely by the people of Denmark. In Greenland, we know that.
Carney making those comments ahead of a meeting with the Danish Prime Minister today. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister and the Governor General will also visit Greenland next month. CTV's Mike LeCouture is traveling with the Prime Minister and has more on how countries are planning on supporting Ukraine.
Ahead of the meeting hosted by French President Emmanuel Macron, Prime Minister Mark Carney said the goal was to finalize security guarantees for Ukraine. World leaders were joined by representatives from the U.S., hoping to build on the momentum towards peace.
Our main objective is to finalize the security guarantees amongst ourselves which create the possibility of a just and lasting peace for Ukraine.
The meeting brought together more than 30 world leaders who make up the coalition of the willing. They agreed to participate in a U.S.-led ceasefire monitoring and verification mechanism, long-term support for Ukraine's armed forces, plus a multinational force to backstop Ukraine's military. There was also agreement on finalizing binding commitments to support Ukraine in the event that Russia breaks the ceasefire. And the countries agreed to deepen long-term defense cooperation with Ukraine.
Following a ceasefire, the UK and France will establish military hubs across Ukraine and build protected facilities for weapons and military equipment to support Ukraine's defensive needs.
Now, Canada's contribution could include troops on the ground as part of that multilateral backstop, something the government is ramping up for.
The largest military buildup in generations, coming over the course of the next 5 years, an additional $80 billion of investment, in part because of issues like this.
U.S. buy-in is key to any plan succeeding, and President Trump's envoy is supportive of this one.
We think we're largely finished with security protocols, which are important so that the people of Ukraine know that when this ends, it ends forever.
Regardless of the result of today's meeting, nothing can be put into place until there is a ceasefire. Prime Minister Carney reiterated the final elements of that need to be negotiated between the U.S., Ukraine, and Russia. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Paris.
What we like about it, it's the same shape as a real Zamboni.
Coming up, a homemade Zamboni is taking a backyard rink in western Quebec to the next level. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. Mainly cloudy skies here in downtown Ottawa, but snow is on the way and will continue into the overnight. The temperatures, though, starting to warm up. -6 is the overnight low, and tomorrow we're going to see a daytime high of -2. Now, here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam showcasing Parliament Hill and Chateau Laurier, decorated as part of the region's lights across Canada. Tomorrow is the final night to check out the dazzling display. It's -10 out right now in downtown Ottawa.
The most important part of any journey is to arrive safely. Hi, I'm Patricia Bowl.
And I'm Stefan Keys from CTV. Distracted or impaired driving can have devastating consequences.
Hey, it's Ashley.
And Gord from Ottawa's Pure Country 94.
Always plan for a designated driver, and please keep your phone down.
Everyone can help keep communities safe.
Drive safe. Brought to you by the Ottawa Safety Council. For more information on road safety programs and services, visit ottawasafetycouncil.ca.
Today's Snow Report is brought to you by Camp Fortune. Let us teach you to love winter.
Here are today's snow reports. Camp Fortune is 4 out of 7 lifts, 11 of 27 runs, 5 centimeters of new snow. Edelweiss closed today. Moncascade, 4 of 6 lifts, 11 of 21 runs. Calabogie Peaks, all lifts and 15 of 26 runs available to skiers and snowboarders. And Vorlage has 4 lifts, all 4 lifts available, 9 of 20 runs.
Let us teach you to love winter. We offer ski and snowboard lessons, a vast variety of runs, and let's not forget après-ski in our new pub 1920. See you on the slopes.
Anyone who has a backyard rink knows keeping the ice smooth is one of the hardest parts, but one Western Quebec resident has figured out a solution. He built a homemade Zamboni from scratch. CTV's Dave Charbonneau has more.
And in 2010, I decided to start doing a skating rink on the lake.
For Chris Flynn, building a rink on Long Lake in Mayo, Quebec, northeast of Gatineau, has been a labor of love for more than a decade. But keeping the ice smooth wasn't always easy. Until now.
The last year, year or two, Stefan has helped me to take it to another level.
That next level came from his neighbor, Stéphane Dehaye, and a machine he built by hand.
What we like about it, it's the same shape as a real Zamboni.
The project started with old equipment and a lot of problem solving.
I had an old lawnmower machine, and I started from there.
The homemade Zamboni uses hot water, just like the real thing, making a big difference. The result? Smooth, glistening ice.
We're able to use hot water, which cures and repairs the ice better than cold water.
The machine even rolls out between periods, turning a pickup game into something straight out of an arena.
So it's everyone's true dream. In between periods, this miniature Zamboni came and did the rink.
The video of that moment has now gone viral, but for Dehaye, the payoff is much simpler.
It's a lot of work to maintain the rink on the lake, but every time we got people using it, it's a reward for us.
A homemade Zamboni, a backyard rink, and a neighborhood project that shows just how far Canadians will go for the love of the game. Dave Charbonneau, CTV News.
The deep freeze in our region has ended and things are starting to warm up. Still lots of snow on the ground in Iroquois along the St. Lawrence River, but there is some rain in the forecast later this week with temperatures set to rise above the freezing mark. Now for our first check on weather, here's Jackie Perez. Jackie, some rain on the way.
Rain's on the way, but first we have to keep an eye out because there is snow on the way as well for these overnight hours. Not as much as maybe what we saw yesterday, but keep in mind it could make for some slick conditions. So you see this weather system that is moving through most of Ontario. A little bit of freezing rain moving through Kingston. Not quite hit here in Ottawa yet, but we expect this into the overnight hours. Temperatures right now sitting around -10. We saw a daytime high of -9, and as the next few days roll in, it's going to get much warmer. Tonight's lows across the region, about -6 here in Ottawa, -5 in Cornwall. Kingston sitting around -3. Trenton -2. And as we look towards our friends in Mont-Tremblant and Montreal, temperatures sitting around -6. So still pretty mild for the overnight lows considering the deep freeze that we had for the last several days. Tomorrow's daytime highs, well, Kingston's going to be around the freezing mark, and so is Bancroft, Brockville, and Cornwall sitting around -1. And then temperatures really throughout eastern Ontario averaging around -2 degrees. There is a chance that we could see some slight flurries moving through, but for the most part, we are anticipating mainly cloudy skies. So as we look towards our Wednesday afternoon, we may see a little bit of sunshine peeking through, but mainly cloudy is what we're anticipating for our Wednesday and especially into our Thursday as well. So drier conditions on the way, sunnier conditions, and even milder conditions. But rain will be on the way by the time we have for Friday. That in a little bit. First, right now across Canada, temperatures in the Atlantic region about -5, -7, and temperatures are still sticking around the cooler areas, but you can see that warm air really moving through the southwesterly winds. And so we have about 2 degrees in Toronto, where freezing rain warning is in effect. 4 degrees in Windsor, and then our friends in the prairies, there's still a little of that Arctic chill moving through. Saskatoon around -17, Edmonton sunny -2, and Vancouver sitting at 6 degrees. Now this 7-day forecast is brought to you by Davidson Hearing Aid Centers, celebrating over 80 years in family business. The chance of flurries will linger for our Wednesday, -2. And keep in mind, tomorrow morning, it could be slushy, it could be slick on the roads, so keep an eye out there when you're heading out the door for work and for school. -4 going into Thursday, so it's going to be averaging mildly warmer temperatures. 1 degree for Thursday is what I like to see. Friday, as much as I like the 5-degree weather, we are anticipating 3 to 5 millimeters of rain, and that's the early forecast. So this could change. And then Saturday, 60% chance that we could see some rain or snow. So if you want to skate that full length of that canal at 7.8, you might want to do it very soon because this can change the conditions for the canal.
Certainly, because we enjoy the mild temperatures, but it's not only going to warm up nicely or you think it's going to be more comfortable. The rain is going to make it really messy out there.
Which,
lots of puddles on
lots
that
of puddles,
giant skating rink.
Shorter rink or skateway, so take advantage now while you have it.
All right, thank you, Jackie.
And I'm so excited to compete here.
Coming up, we head to Gatineau, where the Canadian National Skating Championships are taking place.
Tonight, Mark Carney shrugs off U.S. plans to get more oil from Venezuela.
We also see the competitiveness of Canadian oil.
And what critics say is needed to head off a future economic threat. We'll have that story and more later on CTV National News, and watch live on Crave. CTV News community and weather anchor Jackie Perez. Weeknights.
Canada's top figure skaters are in Gatineau this week for the 2026 Canadian National Skating Championships. It's all leading up to Sunday, when Team Canada will announce which skaters will be competing at the Winter Olympics. Here's CTV's Peter Sperling.
There's excitement on the ice in Gatineau.
And I'm so excited to compete here.
Figure skating champion Leah Cho looking forward to competing at the 2026 Canadian National Skating Championships.
My favorite part of competing is showing everyone how much I love this sport, and it's just performing and jumping.
The event taking place this year at the Slush Puppy Center.
This is the biggest event of the year for us. You know, this is a junior and senior competition. 300 athletes from across the country competing in singles, pairs, ice dance, and synchronized skating.
Now, if you want to get up close to the action, there are several events every day this week, with many looking forward to Sunday, when we find out who will represent Team Canada at this year's Winter Olympics.
Nationals is always a big deal, but every 4 just gets a little more attention.
We just appreciate seeing the figure skating in person.
For Kathy White, who drove from Toronto, attending is a tradition.
We've been coming to the Canadian National Figure Skating Championships every year since 1992.
I'll tell you, there's some awesome signatures on this.
Tom Ray not here to add autographs to his flag, but cheer on skaters.
You know, if we run into some, that'd be great. But no, it's not really that I'm trying to get more signatures. I want to wave it for them.
Goals and excitement for fans and athletes.
I think I did very well. This was my best skate of the season, so very good timing on the national stage.
I really hope I could see myself competing in the Olympics one day and also competing at Worlds and representing Canada.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
In tonight's big picture, a Quebec apartment in Trois-Rivières has turned into what some are calling an ice castle after the pipes burst. Landlords discovered this icy disaster yesterday when they were legally allowed to enter the residence after evicting the tenant. They found multiple water pipes had burst after the tenant left and turned off the heat. Water flooded the apartment and a thick layer of ice covered the floor and every appliance. The landlords say they will have to gut the unit and find out what will be covered by insurance. Now, some other stories you need to know right now. Doctors are sounding the alarm about a troubling trend amongst kids and teens. They say a growing number of young people are using illegal high-dose caffeine pouches.
It's dangerous because a lot of these pouches have doses of caffeine much higher than just a regular cup of coffee.
They are similar to nicotine pouches and are placed under the gums. Health risks include cardiovascular issues and gastrointestinal problems.
I am very happy to join Blue Jays. I will work hard every day.
The Toronto Blue Jays introduced fans to their newest player today. Japanese slugger Kazuma Okamoto signed a 4-year, $60 million deal with the Jays. The acquisition is part of Toronto's off-season bid to get back to the World Series.
Downhill with a shot fought off the rebound. They score! Dylan Cousins!
The Sens had their first loss of 2026 last night. Despite that goal in the second period, they were unable to catch the Detroit Red Wings. The final score, 5-3. The Sens are now heading to Utah to face the Mammoth tomorrow.
Sweden, the World Junior Champions in Minnesota.
And at the World Juniors, Sweden finished at the top of the podium for the first time since 2012. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead and managed to hold off the late surge from Czechia to win 4-2. It's their third ever gold medal in the tournament.
McKenna centers it. Here's Hayes with the backhand shot, ripping it down, rebound, score!
Team Canada is also bringing home some hardware from the World Juniors. They beat Finland 6-3 last night to claim the bronze medal.
We're still dealing with birds that were bred in the 70s and 80s. They're still in the system, and we're still pumping out new birds.
Just ahead, why experts are sounding the alarm about a lack of vet care for pet parrots in Canada.
You're watching CTV News with Patricia Boll. Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Animal rescues warn a parrot crisis is growing in Canada as resources shrink. That's why the largest parrot rescue in Eastern Ontario is launching a pilot program aimed at stopping the problem from getting worse. CTV's Caitlin Wilson has more.
Hi, Sammy. It's snack time, and at 71 years old, it's a routine Sammy knows by heart. He came to Parrot Partners Canada after outliving his original owner, and now calls the rescue home along with 54 other aging and surrendered birds.
We get them from all walks of life all the time, and we generally get up to about 5 a week inquiries. Will you take my bird?
She says it's a crisis quietly unfolding across the country as rescues like hers struggle to keep up.
The care system is this patchwork of individual people, mostly doing it out of their homes. And they're doing it because they see that there's nobody there for them.
The issue? Parrots can live a long time, some up to 80 years. But as caregivers age out, rescues are shrinking, compounded by a shortage of avian veterinarians. And unlike cats and dogs, there's no safety net when owners can no longer care for them, even as parrots continue to be bred and sold in pet stores, some for thousands of dollars.
We're still dealing with birds that were bred in the 70s and 80s. They're still in the system, and we're still pumping out new birds.
This is April, a 30-year-old African gray who could live another 30 years. That's why the organization is testing a 3-year pilot project, the first of its kind, to see whether having a plan, a guaranteed place to go, and early support can stop the parrot crisis from worsening.
Rather than using the traditional rescue model, we're looking at it from an insurance or a pension point of view.
Under the pilot, adopters would pay a $20 monthly fee, helping cover ongoing support, education, and boarding, with the guarantee the parrot can return if it can no longer be cared for. The goal? To keep parrots in one stable place for as long as possible.
We're doing a fundraiser for it now. Mathematically, this might be what allows professional rescues to take hold.
Giving more parrots like Sammy a soft place to land well into their golden years. Caitlin Wilson, CTV News, Carleton Place.
Canadian oil stocks were once again dragged down by the news from Venezuela and concerns around the future of the sector. BNN Bloomberg's Marella Fernandez has more.
Canadian oil companies had been hoping for a stock rebound today, but didn't get it. They got hit on Monday after the weekend capture of the Venezuelan leader. It raises concerns about a bigger supply of oil coming from that country under Washington's guidance, and that could compete or replace Canadian oil exports. Cenovus Energy, Athabasca Oil, and Canadian Natural Resources stocks were all down again today. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 72.42. West Texas Intermediate down over $1 to 57.13. Western Canadian Select is up 51 cents to 44.44. And the TSX gained 188 points today for the second record close of the week. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
It just flipped us right over. All 7 of us were in the water.
Just ahead, what boaters need to know about a safety recall for the Sea-Doo Switch after 3 cases of the boats flipping in Ontario and 4 deaths in the U.S.
You're watching CTV News with Patricia Boll.
Transport Canada has launched an investigation into a type of boat called a Sea-Doo Switch after stories on CTV News last year about the vessel's capsizing. There's now a safety recall in this country, and lawsuits are underway in the United States following deaths and injuries. Here's CTV's Pat Foran.
The Sea-Doo Switch has the power of a Sea-Doo and the seating arrangement of a pontoon boat. Marcus Hurl told CTV News when he was using his with his grandchildren, it started to take on water.
It was like a scoop that was scooping up water into the boat.
Lori and Clyde Rowan said a similar incident happened to them with their Sea-Doo Switch.
It just flipped us right over. All 7 of us were in the water.
Paul and Sue DeCucci said their Sea-Doo Switch almost sank twice.
Just take the boat back and you work on whatever you need to work on to make this thing seaworthy, because I don't trust it.
This week, Transport Canada updated its website with a safety recall involving the boat, but in a statement said the recall published on the Health Canada website is the same recall issued by BRP. Transport Canada continues to work with the U.S. Coast Guard and BRP to assess whether any further actions are required to address the identified safety risk. In Maine, a law firm is filing a lawsuit against BRP, Bombardier Recreational Products, after 3 people died when a Sea-Doo switch flipped over in August.
The boat started to take on water in the front and then capsized completely. And 3 of the women on the boat were trapped underneath the boat and drowned before anyone could rescue them.
The law firm contends even with a safety recall, the boat is not safe to use.
Obviously, the family deserves compensation. 3 people are dead. They need to change the design of the boat.
Bombardier said in the safety recall, overloading the front of the boat could result in serious injury or death. It also released a safety video.
It may result in the boat nosediving, leading to capsizing.
CTV News reached out to Ontario Sea-Doo switch owners who say they still want refunds for their boats.
We want the full refund from Bombardier.
People have been hurt. People have died. Why would they not just say take them off the market?
BRP told CTV News our riders' safety is our top priority, and we are committed to providing products that are safe and in compliance with all applicable laws and regulations. Pat Foran, CTV News.
He's stuck. He's got fishing line around him.
Coming up, a group of BC fishers come to the rescue of a trapped owl. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. We've got a weather system, a large significant weather system moving through parts of the province. It's going to bring freezing rain, so a warning is in effect for really most of the GTA extending to Kingston as well as Brockville. 1 to 5 millimeters of ice buildup is in store, so don't be surprised for the slick, icy conditions into tomorrow morning. Here in Ottawa, though, we are anticipating some snow moving through. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam, where there is no snow in sight yet, but we will be anticipating this in the next few hours. Current temperature sitting at -10.
You're watching CTV News with Patricia Bowl.
The National Capital Region is jam-packed with incredible experiences you don't want to miss. Hey, I'm Tanea Taylor, your iHeartRadio Weekender, powered by Barrhaven Ford. Get the inside scoop on all the biggest and best events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on CTV, Move 100, Pure Country 94, TSN 1200, and News Talk 580 CFRA. iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barrhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford dealership, and Ontario's #1 Ford EV dealer.
Well, tomorrow on CTV Your Morning Ottawa, we are officially halfway through the Ottawa Senators season, so we check in with the folks at TSN 1200 to see how the team's faring so far. Wake up the right way with Your Morning Ottawa starting at 6.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top stories we're following right now.
It's hard to put it into words. It's not mine anymore, but in part of me it always will be.
A community mourning the loss of an iconic building. The Douglas Trading Post and former location of the Douglas Tavern is destroyed by a fire that started last night and took hours to get under control.
But whatever is little left of that dictatorship is going to be way, way less now without that support from Venezuela.
Still a talk of the world. Ottawa's Cuban community watching developments in Venezuela closely and what the situation there could mean for their home country. This as Nicolas Maduro's future looks uncertain while in U.S. custody.
You know, for the first year of operation, we're right around that 98% service reliability.
Marking a significant milestone for OC Transpo, it has been 1 year since the launch of the LRT lines 2 and 4, bringing light rail through Carleton University to Riverside South and the airport. Now for a final check on the weather forecast, Jackie, the skaters looked great along the canal, but they might have a shortened window. Want to get it in now before the rain and the warmth arrives.
Yes, and we're anticipating warmer temperatures already starting off tomorrow, where we saw minus double-digit temperatures for the overnight lows and into tomorrow. Well, take a look. Our wake-up weather, we're starting off at -5, and that's going to warm up to about -2 for our Wednesday. There is still a chance that we could see some flurries moving through, but it's going to be mainly cloudy skies for our Wednesday. Thursday, also anticipating drier conditions where we'll see a daytime high of 1 degree. And then Friday, 5 degrees is our daytime high. But with it, we'll see anticipating about 3 to 5 millimeters of rain moving through.
All right, thank you, Jackie. And finally for us tonight, we'll leave you with this story about a rescue in BC.
He's stuck. He's got fishing line around him.
A group of fishers stumbled upon an owl perched on a downed tree in Nanaimo. They couldn't get a hold of conservation officers, so they decided to free it themselves.
He didn't pull back, and he didn't try to fly or anything in the slightest. And then when I started to untangle him, he didn't bite, he didn't resist. There was like absolutely no fear in the slightest.
They managed to free the owl from the fishing line, and it eventually flew away. Some good Samaritans there. Nice work.
Happy news story there for us.
We had parrots, we had owls, we had everything today.
A little bit of everything, and I did see those parrots moving through. I talked to CTV's Caitlin Wilson,
yes,
and she was just like, "Oh, I wanted a bird on my arm," and seeing how much they will feed her, eat off the crackers.
Amazing. That is CTV News for Tuesday, January 6th. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. CTV News continues online anytime with our digital team keeping you up to date. Of course, you can always tune in to 580 CFRA as well. Have a great night.